to Cloudy Day. Today's video I wanted to talk about things that people don't tell you when you decide to take a gap year after graduating. This whole video, what I'm about to share with you guys, is just from my experience, what I've kind of experienced, and I thought it might help some of you guys who feel lost, feel like you're alone in this, and you feel like you're the only one who feels this way. Trust me, I can tell you right now that you're not alone. But yeah, I really wanted to kind of like talk to you guys, and I've done some bullet points of the things that I want to mention and just kind of talk. Now, I don't know if I want to talk about the positives. I may make a two-part where today I talk about the negatives of taking a gap year, which some people may be like, there's no negatives. You know, I'm not saying there is. There doesn't have to be any negatives, but these are the negatives that I experienced during my gap year. Or during my gap year now. Yeah, let's just talk, and I hope this video helps you out. It makes you feel slightly less anxious maybe. I do want to say, regarding the kind of content that I want to make and upload videos, you can probably already, as if you go on my channel, I have 2 vlogs up. One was when I went to Bath, which was last year, and when I went to London on a girls' trip with my friends to see the Van Gogh exhibition. However, I want to say now that I love talking about wellness and mental health and self-discovery, so probably a lot of videos on this channel will be around that. But I am a very creative person and I love taking photos, photography, like fun photo shoots, so I'm sure you might get some behind the scenes of my photo shoots and just like vlogs in general, what I do in my day. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of say what you might expect from me. So a lot of probably mental health videos from my experience, the things that I went through or I'm going through. I'm sorry that I'm not looking into the camera. I have a tendency when I look into the camera, I forget what I want to say sometimes, so I'm just kind of looking around my bathroom, and you will probably get a lot of videos me filming in my bathroom. Why? I don't know, I like the setting. There's a window here, good lighting. So yeah, you're going to kind of get a little bit of everything. I have been struggling with productivity and being consistent, but I've realized, and this is a tip for anyone who wants to go down the creative path, or not even creative path, anything you want to do in life, and the things that you want to do, right? So for example, you have some tasks and activities that you personally want to do because it's your hobby, but for some reason can't find the consistency or like the push, the motivation. Although I don't feel like you should have motivation to do things. I struggled with that a lot because I always thought I need motivation, but sometimes you don't need motivation, you just have to kind of push yourself. But that's for another video. I'm gonna forget about that now. I realized, like, these videos, I like making mental health videos, and if I'm gonna do like a different video, I don't know, like a different topic on something else, it might kind of stress me out a little bit, and then I don't get to it. I don't do the video or the content that I want to create because it's stressing me out. So instead, guys, do the things that you love and you know you're going to enjoy, and I feel like from then on you'll kind of see progress. Now I could be talking a lot of bullshit right now. I don't know, you may disagree, which is fine. And I just want to say, the videos that I will be uploading, what I say now might change a couple years or a few months later. So like, let's say I'm experiencing this and this is how I view something. Later on, maybe I could evolve. Well, not that I could. Later on, you know, people evolve and opinions and thoughts, everything changes. So whatever I say in these videos, I may change, you know, later on down the path, down when I'm making a video, I come back to a topic and I'm like, actually, this is what I think about this now, or whatever. Anyway, let's get to it. Some people may be wondering, what is the gap year? It's basically when you take a break between your academic year, before you go to university or college. So it could be after or before. I wanted to take one after, but I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't. I'm a huge believer in things happen for a reason. Things happen for a reason. And I feel like me planning to take a gap year at the start of uni was definitely not the right choice, even though I wanted it so bad. And like, I was talking to my parents and I was like, I want to take it. They kind of advised me, no, just do your, you know, uni first and then you can take a gap year later. I was against it for a bit, but I'm glad I didn't. But yeah, so it's basically where you take a break. I don't like that term gap year, because it's basically, well, that what it means. It implies that you take a gap year between academic years, either before you go to uni or college or after you finish uni, and then maybe before you do your masters or something. Now, I don't know if people watching from America, I don't know the correct terms for this, but you know, I live in the UK, so I'm just gonna use UK terms. Let's start off with maybe kind of give you an introduction what I studied. So I graduated in criminology and sociology. Now, I'm not the type of maybe I kind of used to be the type of person where I would look what I was studying and just like in general in life and regret the things that happened or like I did or the choices that I made. But I'm a believer now where like you shouldn't regret the things that you do. Obviously the good things, you know, the bad things, I'm not saying murder, like anyway, whatever. I'm just overthinking right now. As in like, at first, for example, I regretted that I studied criminology and sociology. So I am a very creative person. And when I do art, and by art, I mean different forms, not like painting and stuff, which I recently did start though. So I've been enjoying painting, but like taking photos, photography, singing, dancing, creating videos, like basically the whole package. My parents kind of advised me to go down the route and find something that I enjoy that would bring me stable money. Before I decided on criminology and sociology, I was thinking about history, I was thinking about law, out the window. For those who are studying law and for those who can do it, you're amazing and keep it up, guys. You will get through it. I have a friend who's studying law and I know it's so hard. But if that's something that you want to do, it's worth it. You'll get through it. Back to what I was saying, that's what I studied. And during those 3 years that I was at uni, a lot of stress, a lot of tears, and just like my personal problems, everything was happening. As much as I gained friends, obviously, as much as I loved my uni experience, there were times where I didn't enjoy it, and looking back at my experience at uni, I wish I kind of enjoyed it more. And I am kind of that person that overthinks and stresses over things. Like, you know, I would be the kind of student where I'd stay at home and do work and wouldn't go out clubbing or partying. I went clubbing or partying with like my friends. Now, before I go further on, I went to uni during COVID time, so it was 2020. Oh yeah, it was 2020, and it started in September. So yeah, it was during COVID. So the first year was kind of online, offline kind of thing. We would do like, what was it called? This app that we used? Zoom, it was Zoom. So we would have classes through Zoom. And then sometimes we would be able to go into uni and have like a seminar face-to-face with our lecturer. Anyway, back to clubbing. Clubbing started like in second year when everything kind of, you know, died down. And that's when I made friends, like proper friends, because obviously through online, it was quite hard to connect with people. And especially, I wasn't in like, I wasn't living in dorms. So I stayed with my parents. I went to Oxford Brookes University. So yeah, I decided to stay with my parents because I know I stress a lot, and when I stress, I like to have my loved ones around me. Bear with me, guys. I know this is like a long introduction, but please bear with me. I just want to give you a little bit of context so you know what I studied, the kind of background of uni before we get onto my gap year. So it was different emotions during uni time. I wish I enjoyed it more, but it is what it is. I'm glad that it's over though, because it was a lot of stress, and in my last year it was a lot, because that's when you do your final piece, which here we call it dissertation, and a lot of things happen during that time. And I think that's when for the first time, I don't want to self-diagnose myself with anxiety or anything, but if you don't know, it's really hard in the UK to actually even get diagnosed for anxiety. Like, it's so hard and it upsets me. And I have a friend who has anxiety, and she's, you know, she went through a lot of doctors trying to get in and, like, you know, just kind of help her out, and the whole journey to actually getting, you know, diagnosed with anxiety is really hard. But the reason why I'm saying that I think I do have anxiety was because, yes, I stress a lot, but what I experienced was very different from stress. Like, there was some similar symptoms, but it was like over the top. Like, I had quickened heartbeat. Like, I thought, I was like, what, am I gonna pass out or something? Like, obviously not, but like, it would make me feel so uncomfortable and anxious, and my heart rate would like just increase, and I feel it in my chest, like pounding. And you know, when you get kind of nervous and you have stress, you kind of, you have this feeling in your stomach, right? But for me, that was like 10 times worse, and I couldn't fall asleep. And yeah, it was just a lot of things, and you know, crying and everything, and just I couldn't cope. I didn't know how to cope with it. But I'm glad I had my family and my mum and my dad with me, and my sister, and my dog. I want to start off first with that going into my gap year, I thought that all of my problems would disappear. Now, I just want to focus on my gap year and the experiences that I experienced. And some of the other things that link into my gap year I might do in a separate video, because I don't want it to be a very long video. Because I know I've already spoken for like 10 minutes. First thing that I'm gonna say, and this relates to me because I'm a big overthinker, is overthinking. Even before going into my gap year, I was overthinking, but also thinking about all the things that I can do and how my gap year would look like, and finally being able to do the things that I love, which I'm very grateful for, and that's like a positive, but we'll get into that maybe in the next video. But with that, I was kind of overthinking a lot and had this vision of how my gap year would look like. And I don't know why I've done that, because I've told myself before, do not have expectations, because whenever I made expectations, I would feel disappointed. And I feel like that's for everything. Like, don't have expectations of anything, and I feel like you won't be disappointed, but also having no expectations can lead to other miracles that you haven't thought that could come along the way, if you know what I mean, right? Overthinking was a big one, and I was overthinking about life. What's next? What do I want to do in my gap year? I was thinking about careers. I was overthinking my friendships, my like relationships with my friends. And like, during your gap year, where you have this like time off and you can try and do anything, you kind of really, personally for me, I kind of really am still kind of in my head, and I think a lot, and I think about what's next, what do I need to do, and it's kind of hard for me to live spontaneously and do things not planned. Like, I'm a huge planner, but also like I like planning and having to-do lists of what I want to do in the day, but at the same time I don't. It's like 50-50. The worst thing is when I do a to-do list and some things that I haven't done on the list will stress me out, and I'd get upset with myself that I'm not productive. But the reality is I sometimes make unrealistic long to-do lists, which is, you know, not great. So I'm working on that. That's one thing. Overthinking was or is my biggest one, and honestly, if I could have a full-time job in overthinking, I would be a trillionaire or even more than that. But yeah, overthinking to me ties to other topics that I'll get onto, because when you overthink, you honestly think about everything. And even though I'm very grateful that I have this time, I feel this like pressure of like, what do I do next? And whenever I would meet up with people, or like family members would come and they would ask, so what's next? I'm like, I honestly don't know. And whenever people would ask me that, I would kind of stress and this kind of anxiety would creep up, and I'd kind of, there have been moments where I kind of would cry and spiral down, and I would overthink, and I start kind of thinking about like, what am I doing with myself? Like, what am I doing? What is my purpose? But also be mad at myself, because when I would overthink, I would feel stuck in life, and I would feel stuck with the things that I was doing, that eventually I wasn't doing anything and I was being unproductive, and that made me even more upset and mad at myself, because I wanted to do the things that I wanted to do, but I wasn't being productive because I was overthinking everything. So obviously with this, I'm not saying that's how your gap year will go, but do bear in mind, I feel like when you're taking a gap year, you will have a moment to yourself to think about the things, which is good. It can be good and bad. I think you need to know where to balance it out and have this kind of barrier where you're like, when you start overthinking, you're like, whoa, let's take a step back. Like, you can think about what's next, what's your job, but I'm trying to stop overthinking and kind of go with the flow, which is very hard for me because I am and I have been always a type of person to kind of plan my future, and I want this and I want that, but then again, overthinking, and then that wouldn't happen. So yeah, overthinking is a big one for me. Another thing that I experience is that you kind of feel lonely / alone, but you're not alone. If you, it's hard. It's like I'm basically contradicting myself. I felt lonely in the sense of I had, or I have still, I have so much time that I don't know sometimes what to do with myself, but also like I feel lonely in the sense of like my parents go to work, my sister goes to school, and I'm alone in my house with my dog, and it's so quiet where it comes to the point where I can hear my thoughts, and again links back to overthinking, and I start overthinking again and again. And that's a kind of thing that I experienced, and I'm trying not to overthink. Like, I've been trying to do a lot of things and be productive, like content creating. That's one of the things that I want to do, and I want to get on YouTube and kind of build this community where we could help each other and kind of grow together and see where this journey takes us. So that's what I've been trying to like occupy myself with. So there are times where I'll be overthinking. I will try and make myself do things. So either journal, either read a book, watch YouTube, do like I have this Google Doc where I have all the topics that I want to talk to you guys about on YouTube and make videos on. And yeah, I also started painting, go on my walks, go on dog walks, meet up with my friends. But then again, back to feeling alone. My friends are still studying. So my friends are scattered all over England, and some are studying abroad. So it's slightly a bit hard to meet up with them and actually have plans because they're studying. And I know how much uni, takes so much energy from you, that I'm like, I can give you space, and I'm happy to, because I would say I'm like an introvert extrovert. I'm in between and I can jump from one to the other, but most of the days I am in my house and I'm happy. That's another thing, like I'm happy being alone in my house. Like, I know what I can do being alone, but then there are moments where I'm like, I miss my friends, I miss interacting with people, I miss just making friends and kind of getting out there and building these deep connections. So there's like 50-50 again, but I'll leave that for like the positive side. With that being said, you feel kind of lonely because you have so much time, and because you have so much time, again links back to overthinking. And when you have so much time, you feel like you should be doing a lot of things and basically don't feel like you're doing enough, which I want to say, you don't need to be doing every single day something big. You don't need to be working all the time, like, I don't know, recording, writing, editing. Like, it will drain you, and it'll get to a point where you're not enjoying what you're doing anymore. I've been kind of learning to come to terms with this, where it's okay to have days where you're not doing anything, and to kind of check in with yourself. But there are times where I kind of limit myself to enjoy my time off, because there are days where I've been having a lot of time off, but that is due to overthinking again and feeling stuck. As you can see, overthinking is a big thought, but I don't want to scare you guys, because your gap year can be absolutely different from mine, okay? And my gap year isn't finished. Like, I am working, well, I'm looking for a job now, but before that I was working. I quit the job, so I'm planning, you know, to earn a bit more money and go traveling. So yeah, that's the plan. Another thing that I experienced is the feeling of feeling lost in life. Before even uni and my gap year, I had so many different dreams and visions of who I would become by the age of 21, and unfortunately those things didn't happen. That kind of hit me, and I realised, I was like, whoa, okay, that is weird, because I had a vision and like I wanted to become this before even I was 18 or 21, which is crazy because you're still like a teenager at 18 and things happen unexpectedly. And I am gonna say, I always thought I'd be a singer. I'd become a singer because I love singing, I love dancing and performing, but I do struggle with singing in front of people. And I used to have singing lessons, and that was like a huge step for me, because that's when I realized, oh my god, I'm actually gonna have to sing to someone and they are going to have to hear my voice. But I'm glad I've done that step. And my singing teacher, she was so lovely, love her to death, she was so nice. But when I started uni, I pulled back from my singing lessons and, you know, what I enjoyed doing, and I was basically constantly like in books and just reading articles and writing essays and stressing and whatnot and crying. Oh, anyway, before my uni and my gap year, I had like a vision of what I wanted to become, and I actually never thought I would go to uni for some reason, but here I am, I've got a degree. And yeah, so when those things didn't happen and now I'm in this position, I kind of overthink and think about, what do I actually enjoy? And as sad as this may sound, maybe, which you shouldn't feel ashamed if you felt like this, because I know I'm not trying to be ashamed of myself that I felt like this or that I've done these things. But what I've realised for a few years, I was trying to live someone else's life in a way. I was trying to follow kind of in their path and see what they're doing and how they're succeeding, if that makes sense. And I realised that is not my path. Like, I have my own journey and I need to accept who I am as me, as Claudia, who I am, what I enjoy, and not look on social media and look at these things that people are doing and trying to be like them, because you are your own being, you are unique, and your path will be different from everybody else's. You may take you may do similar things, you may have similar jobs or something, but your path will always be different and it's yours. And I think that's where I struggle, because I tried to live someone else's life and follow their footsteps. And realizing this made me actually feel slightly lost and, you know, kind of talk with myself about like, oh, what would I like to do? What is my calling? Because I've been looking at these, you know, things on social media and trying to be like someone and trying to follow their footsteps, which is not for me, because it would stress me out. Like, I didn't realize it then, but it would stress me out. And now I would like to say I would compare myself to others, and so far it's been good. It's been getting better and I'm not comparing myself as much. But let's get back to what I was talking. I can ramble on and I will lose track of everything that I'm saying and start like a new topic. But another thing in this video will be the theme of comparing my life to others. Yeah, feeling lost. That's where we were. I would be lying if I said I don't feel lost now. Like, I still don't know what I want to do. And everyone, and it is crazy for those who feel, even, let's say, okay, if you're at uni now, or if you graduated, or you're going into uni and you still feel like you don't know what you want to do, it's 100% okay to not know what you want to do. I've met so many graduates who graduated and they're in the same position where they're like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And it kind of makes you feel like, you know, you are not alone, because you're not. There's like a whole community of people who feel the same as you do. And I spoke to my professors and they felt the same way, like my lecturers, they felt the same way. They felt lost, they didn't know what they wanted to do. One of my lecturers advised me to take a gap year, and she said that she took a 7-year-long gap year, and I was just amazed. I was like, how? But she did, which is fine, whatever. You do you, girl, okay. But yeah, so I feel like it's normal when you are on your gap year to feel, especially I feel like after graduating, to feel like you're lost. And I've spoken to some of my friends when they took a gap year before going to uni, and how they kind of felt different because they knew that after the gap year they're going into university and they have a plan. But after graduating, some people have a plan, some people don't. I don't, and I'm trying actually to go with the flow and try and pursue the things that I enjoy. Like, I study criminology and sociology, but I know it's not something that I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I want to talk about, you know, like mental health and like social things and everything that I learned, because I feel like everything that I learned at uni I can take with me into my life and kind of share with everyone and like help out everyone. Like, that's something that I know I can do, and I'm grateful for that I was able to experience everything at uni and all the topics that I've learned, because I feel like it gave me this amazing knowledge and expanded my brain in a way to view things differently and, you know, look at the world differently. It might be biased, but I'd say you should study criminology and sociology. But anyway, yeah, so that's what happened. So yeah, I don't regret it now, but maybe a few months or a year back I would regret it. But I'm a huge believer now that everything happens for a reason, and I'm glad that I did, you know, study criminology and sociology. Another thing, and probably last thing for today and for this video, is that during my gap year, not so much now, but you never know, you can fall into that pattern and, you know, start comparing yourself, is comparing your gap year but also your life to others and what they've done on their gap year and how they went about it. And now I want to say, if you're taking a gap year, you don't need to travel. And that's what kind of put this pressure on me when I was taking a gap year, because everyone would ask me, oh, where are you traveling? When are you doing that? I'm like, I fear, and I mean it, and I'm trying to break this fear by traveling to visit my friend in Strasbourg. But I'm traveling with a friend, but then I'll be flying back by myself, which I'm a bit scared of getting to the airport more than actually being in the airport, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, is traveling alone. I fear traveling alone, and a lot of people would ask me, oh, where are you traveling during your gap year? What are you doing? And I'm like, maybe like around Europe, you know, stuff like that. But honestly, traveling alone scares the hell out of me. And like comparing my gap year to others and knowing that a lot of my friends went traveling, a lot of my friends done this and that, it made me feel so about myself, and made me feel so anxious of just like, oh, I need to be doing this, I need to travel, I need to do this. If you want to travel, but don't feel the pressure that you need to travel during your gap year. You could just work, you could do internships, you can, you know, look at other things, just start, you know, maybe investing in your hobbies. You don't need to travel. And I think for a long time I felt like I had to have this great plan and go travel around like the whole of America or like Europe or whatever, like not whole of, but like you get the gist. And yeah, so I have fallen into this hole where I would compare myself, my life and my gap year and where everyone was. And again, as you can see, all of this ties together. I would try and live someone else's life or like through their footsteps and see what they've done, which is a big no. Don't do that. Honestly, you won't feel happy, or that's how I know, because it took me a while to realize. But trying to follow into someone else's footsteps and be like someone else, or not really be like someone else, but kind of try and get where they're at through, you know, through their journey, it won't benefit you and it won't make you happy, because that is not your journey and you're not meant to do the same things that that person is doing. So yeah, I definitely fall into the trap where I would compare myself a lot to others, and about other things, not just life, you know how social media is, but I'm trying to minimize that and stop actually doing that, because, you know, to try and end this video on a positive note, during my gap year, I'm kind of falling in love with who I'm becoming and the things that I'm realizing, you know, about social media, about life, about my life, and just life in general, life, you know. So please, I hope you don't feel alone, and I hope this video kind of brought you a bit more comfort and a bit more security, where you're not alone in this. You know, people go through this. I'm sure a lot of people who might watch this, or maybe not a lot of people who might watch this, I don't know who's gonna watch this, they probably felt like that, or they're feeling it right now. We're in this together, and I can promise you, as long as you sit with yourself and just realize the things that you're doing and just write down. I feel like everyone should do journaling, because it kind of takes your thoughts onto paper, and you can sometimes realize what you're thinking, what your thought patterns are, and, you know, kind of where you're going a bit, not wrong, but where you're kind of blocking yourself. So yes, please, you're not alone. You are not alone in this. What you're meant to do in life, you will get there. What's the right saying for this? Right now, what you want to have may not be the right time for you, but it will be in the future, and you will get there. Because I know, right, going back to the singer thing, I wanted to be a singer, but I wasn't putting enough practice. I wasn't practicing every week. Sometimes I wouldn't even practice after my singing lessons, which is not good, but I wasn't doing that, and I was so shy. And I remember I wanted to go on X Factor, but I was super shy that I could only sing in front of my singing teacher. I couldn't even sing in front of my parents. So here's an example. It wasn't meant to happen then. Maybe in the future, I don't know, who knows? But like I said, just take it easy, take it day by day, breathe, surround yourself, you know, positive people, and the negative, just leave them out of your life, and go on walks, surround yourself with nature, and it's okay. It will be okay. We'll get through this together. And like I said, I hope this video helped you, and, you know, you don't feel alone. Thank you for listening. Love you. Bye.